Hello, welcome to my channel. Look, you're not crazy, okay? You're not crazy. I'm going to talk to you, right, as if you are my friend, my family, someone I love, because although I've not met you, right, I have been in places in my life and I still get there sometimes where you question it and you think, what am I doing here? What is it all about? All right, you just question everything. What's the point of it? I don't understand. Where do I belong? Where do I fit in? What the actual F balls, right? Like, let's completely pull back the curtain and be vulnerable, because that's the only way it's going to work. Okay? I urge you to be honest with yourself and be real with yourself, okay? And whatever you do, do not hide how you're feeling. Do not hold it back. Do not shy away because you are questioning yourself. What am I trying to get at here? Like, if you've got a message to share, like I know I've got so many, think of it this way. If you don't share it, there's a couple of things that happen, right? If you don't put out what you feel you're meant to put out, because we're not here by mistake, are we? We're here for a reason. So, okay, if you don't do the thing, if you don't do the thing that you want to do, let's say, for example, sharing a message in whatever way you want, putting yourself out there in some way. Now, a couple of things happen. One, your confidence will not increase. It will decrease. You will withdraw and overanalyze, overthink, and question yourself even more. Or you take the plunge and you do it. And yes, it might feel a little bit weird and uncomfortable, right? But that doesn't mean it's wrong. That just means you're growing. When I felt uncomfortable in the past, it's like when I've spoken on stages or when I've put myself in front of audiences or done things for the first time, whatever it is, yeah. I remember one point when I shared my story, my heart honestly felt like it was going to jump out of my chest, like seriously. I remember going to the bathroom before I spoke and just looking in that mirror and just literally telling myself, like, you can do this, like, you can do this. And it was that feeling of, come on, like, come on, you can do it. And I was literally just telling myself because that's what I needed. But I was like, there was this feeling of like, it's got to be done. Not just for these people here, but this is for me too. So get it out, guys. Just get it out. I think the power of sharing your story is absolutely immeasurable. Underrated. Vulnerability is hard, right? It's opening up and saying, this is how I feel and this is who I am, and you're like open to it all, right? But at the same time, it's so empowering. And I know from my own experience of life, of what I've been through personally, that it helps. Just because it feels uncomfortable doesn't mean to say it's not helpful. Second guessing and questioning yourself. I've done this. I still do this sometimes. Not as much as I used to, but I still do it. And I think that's totally normal, right? So if you're feeling like you're not getting somewhere, if you feel like right now you're like, what is going on? I don't know this. I don't know the answer to that, etc. Know that it's, first of all, you're not crazy. You're crazy not to question things, right? It would be crazy to be here right now, living and existing in a human body, right? And just be like, yeah, I get it all. It all makes perfect sense. Like, I know everything. I know absolutely everything. I have no question. Because at the end of the day, when we're born, this is my belief, we forget, okay? We don't know where we came from, but we feel like home is somewhere else, right? So right now, home is not where I'm living at this address. This is just somewhere that my body is living and I'm experiencing life. Home is somewhere else. Home is, you know, you are a soul, you are a spirit. You are eternal, and home is not four walls. And I want you to know, and this video today has not been scripted in any way, shape or form, as you can possibly tell, but that's what I wanted. I wanted it to be real, vulnerable, authentic, and from the heart, because there's so much that I see, especially on social media now, and I just think it's just so fake, and you're not, you know, it's not, the person isn't showing what they truly feel or think. And imagine what the whole world, what the whole universe would be like. I've got a little hair, it's tickling me. Would be like if we all shared how we felt, truly, honestly, and we're vulnerable. And what it does is it creates like a ripple effect, and it gives other people permission to do the same. For example, let's say, for example, you're in a relationship. Like I currently am in a relationship, okay? And, you know, the other day, I'd been to dance. I love dance. I'd been and done my dance class, right? And it was great. And I'd had coffee with some people after and all that. But these were new people. These weren't people that know me well, you know? I came home and I just needed to cry. I just felt like I wanted to cry. And instead of like withdrawing or not communicating to my partner how I was feeling, because that never gets you anywhere, right? It just creates separation between you. I literally just bawled my eyes out and I was like, this is how I'm feeling. Da, 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 da. And I don't know why. I don't need to know why. And I just want to cry and whatever. And it all just came out. And that's me being vulnerable, right? Now, is that weak? No, it's the opposite. Showing your vulnerability is so strong. Not every minute of every day do we wake up and feel like $1 million, right? Generally speaking, I would say I'm a high vibing person, and people often comment on my energy and say, oh my gosh, da, 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 what do you do? Like, you seem so happy and all this kind of stuff. And I notice and feel people drawn to me like magnets, right? That's how it generally goes for me. But there are times in my life, and it's been like this, I'd say, the past 4 or 5 days, I've just felt a lot more emotional and upset. You can probably see my eyes maybe a bit puffy. I don't know, I've put a bit of makeup on. But I've just felt like crying more than normal. And, yeah, and I'll tell you something. Oh, it's just, this is like, what is this? Where is this video going? Some people, like my mum, bless her, sometimes, she's getting there now though, she's understanding now. Like, we spoke on the phone and then I started to cry. And she's like, this wasn't the other day, but this is sometimes. She'd be like, oh, don't cry. Don't cry. And I'm like, no, I need to cry. I need to cry. Like, it feels good to cry. Don't tell me not to cry. I've got to cry. Yeah, so it's not a bad thing to cry. Fucking hell. Like, I can cry. 1 minute I can cry and I can laugh my arse off the next. Seriously. So what am I trying to say here is that being vulnerable, if you call that vulnerable, which it is when you're feeling sad, because you're worried about what people might think. See, my eyes are even funny now. Watering. Oh dear. What I'm saying is just be yourself and share, because you having your little ramble or your little rant or sharing your story, yeah, it's going to make someone else read that, listen to that, watch that and go, well, I'm not on my own, am I? Because you're not. Yeah, you really aren't. It doesn't matter how much money you have, how many material things you have. The way we feel has nothing to do with it. This is what I've learned. There's been times in my life where I've had more money. There's times where I've had less money. There's times where I've had no money. Okay. And what I've learned is it's not actually to do with that money, because that's just a tool. It's just kind of like, obviously I know we need, like, it's a modern world we're living in, we need to pay this, that, the other. But it always works out, doesn't it? Let's face it, you know, it always works out. But it all starts here. What you're thinking, what your thoughts are, how you're feeling, what you're doing, how that makes you feel. And if I could give you any advice right now, given my experience, which is quite vast and wide with everything I've done and where I've been and what I've learned, I would say your job here is to experience life in a human body, right? You've got your bodysuit on. You're here to experience what it feels like to live in this body. And you are a soul, you are a spirit, you are eternal. I've watched so many NDEs, near-death experience stories, videos, countless. I couldn't count them. So many. And there's one thing that's in common is that this isn't it, right? So what does that mean for us? Well, it means that we don't need to worry, do we? Because if we don't fear death and we know that it's not final, you might show up differently in this life. You might show up differently and do things differently now, okay? You might do things differently now. You might say, well, I'm not going to take that job because that makes me feel shit. I'm going to go and do this because this makes me feel good. You might say, yes, that might make me loads of money, but that actually makes me really happy. And that, by the way, could end up making you loads of money, right? But it's all about how you feel, because we are walking, talking, breathing magnets in a sense that, have you noticed that when you feel a certain way, you attract that, more of that, okay? You attract it. It's like, it's the law of attraction. You've probably seen videos on this, maybe. So think of yourself as a walking, talking, breathing magnet. And that doesn't mean you have to be happy all the time and put a false face on. It just means that you need to be real and be yourself and be honest and be true and do what you need to do for you and not worry so much what anyone thinks. And I'm starting to make things rhyme now, and I like writing poetry, and that's why. So, oh my gosh. Yes. There's so much I could say to you, but long story short, if you found this video and you were looking for some kind of comfort, some kind of, what do I do when I go onto YouTube? It depends how I'm feeling, but generally I'm looking for something, right? And if you're here and you've been looking for some kind of like confirmation, or like to feel like you're not losing your marbles, not that we had them anyway, like you're not. It's called awakening. It's called knowing that there's more than this, but there's no physical, I can touch it. Like you can't touch your soul physically, you know what I mean? You can't touch what you can't see, but you can feel it and know it. So sometimes you can feel like you're losing your marbles, but you're not. You're not. If anything, it's crazy to just accept everything you're told. It's crazy to just think that this is it. And it's crazy to not want to question things, all right? So, yeah, everything's working out for you. Everything's working out for me. You're not on your own, okay? I've actually just created a group just this morning, a circle. I've put it on Facebook, like a women's circle. But that's part of it. It's because I want to help people to realise that they aren't on their own and you're not losing it, and it is all working out for you. And there's a lot of people that feel the same, all right? So know that it's all okay. Just be kind to yourself. You are an infinite being, a soul having a temporary human existence, all right? You don't have to be perfect. You're just here to learn. You're here to learn and to love and to feel good doing things and to sometimes feel bad, and that's okay because you're learning, all right? You came here for this experience, and believe it or not, we chose this. Yep, we did. So, look, please reach out if you feel drawn to. Sometimes I meet people, see people online, depends what it is. And when I've acted upon my instinct, my intuition, and reached out, it's generally always worked out. Well, it has always worked out. And I think there's a reason for that. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to reach out to someone if you feel inclined to and if you feel drawn to them. It's all connected. We are all connected and it's all happening for a reason. Yeah. Check out the links in my description. You'll see a little bit more about me. And that's it, guys, all right? Just keep it real. Keep being real, honest, truthful, and never, ever hide away. Know that you, sharing your story, sharing who you are, is going to help so many other people that you can't even comprehend, right? Shine your light. Be that example. We can't go around making everyone happy, but we can shine our light when we feel good, and that has a knock-on effect on others. Yeah? All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Feel free to subscribe and just keep shining. All right? Take care.